Welcome home. Thank you for being here. We are Tuesday, August 11, 2026. Regular schedule. Things good this week, today and the Thursday. Trying to stay on that. Our schedule, 6:30 every Tuesday, Thursday. At least I think pretty much except for again the third Thursday, which is my Veterans Day meeting. We'll do a Wednesday show on that week. Other than that, it's normally Tuesday, Thursday. Okay, so I I've got a lot that I kind of want to address, but as for what we've been doing in trying to shave off and pare down to a few essential points to work on or go over during the week, twice a week. It's not like I'm on for 3 hours a day and we can cover a lot of topics every single day. So I have to be a little more discriminating, or I have to be discriminating with what I choose to spend my time and energy on, and what I choose to ask you to listen to or to pay attention to and to kind of internalize for your week, for your listening, for the other material or news or sources of information that you get from other places, traditional media, social media, reading, written material, etc. And so I've got to pare down, like I said, to what I feel is the most pertinent and most important for that week. And it isn't always going to be like the political world, right? It doesn't have to be. But and this is why I'm bringing it up here at the top of the show. We are now in campaign mode. We are, within 3 months, under 3 months, actually, of election day, midterm elections for 2026. So that's going to be full in your grill and nonstop all day, all night up until then. And as I bring that up and I tell you, like, obviously that politics is going to be front and center because it's going to be everywhere all the time. I'm still doing my part or my piece to make sure that, when we do a show or when we go over Sumex Nation, I never wanted it to be just politics. Although I did find that there aren't, in my opinion, enough credible, meaningful, serious hosts and streams that deal with political, and again, as I've said before on my air on this time, foreign policy, foreign relations, military matters, our force posture, geopolitics throughout the world. Those are things that I've spent a lifetime studying, learning, reading, knowing, doing. I'm not going to say I'm expert at them more than everybody else, but definitely I have put in time and work over a life. And that's what I feel my wheelhouse is, and that's what I want to address and tackle, because I don't think it's done enough. And definitely not, to my point, definitely not enough by anybody that looks like me, Mexican-American, Mexican person, that can arguably tackle and discuss, dissect, and make sense of U.S. foreign policy, U.S. foreign relations, U.S. force posture, our military, et cetera, right? And so that is my wheelhouse. And even though there aren't a lot of Mexican men or women that choose to deal with this or address it, I do. And it may not be as much fun for as many people. We may not get as many likes or clicks or subscribes as others. I don't give a shit. This is still some of the most important, if not the most important things, issues, items that we deal with as a country and as a people. Now, in your world, you may have more pressing concerns, at least to you in the current. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you have a soccer game this weekend you got to get your son or daughter to. Maybe your daughter is not doing as well in geometry as you would like her to. Those are all fair game, and those are all legit. But they're not the only things, and they're not the things, right? Those affect you individually, and you can address them individually within your purview as a parent or as a person. These other things that I'm talking about are macro and global, and they do affect you daily. You just don't see it in the moment as much. If we go into a foreign country and bomb women and children, you may not think of it. You may not even know it. You may not hear of it, or you may not believe it. But the fact remains we do that. And although in the second, in the moment, it may not affect you directly right now, it will affect you over time as a citizen of this country. When our lives become more difficult, or it's more difficult to live and do the things we normally do because our country isn't quite what it used to be, i.e., the moment now as a whole. Okay? So these are the reasons, and those are the things that I choose to address and want to. And I'm well aware that, yeah, it's not a viral topic. It isn't. It just isn't. But I'm not a viral kind of guy. Virality has nothing to do, does nothing for me that way. Because the most serious, most difficult, most society-altering problems and issues cannot be explained or understood in a viral moment, in a sentence, in a TikTok video, or hell, even a YouTube video for a half hour, an hour. They're quite literally the most pressing and most difficult, complex, nuanced, and hard to understand problems that we deal with as a species, as a human race. And that is precisely why I choose to spend the time I do addressing them. Because I know that others will not. Because it's too damn hard, and it's way too easy to go get some clicks from somebody else for spitting some fluff and garbage, some stuff that's attractive or gathers your attention quickly, real fast. I'm not that guy, and I can't do that. So for this week, for today, title of the show, it kind of crystallized. I was like, where are we at? A buddy of mine asked me, what day are we on now? Trumpstein War. We are at day 165. I want to say the first night that Trump declared war victory was February 28, I want to say. And he went on air and told everybody that we won the war on the first night. And as I've said before, because this isn't a mystery, he lied, of course, because he lies. But he does it because he knows his people will believe it and they'll repeat it. And he doesn't give a shit about everybody else because what are we going to do about it? Can't remove him. Can't get rid of him. Can't stuff him in a box and say, get the hell out. So he doesn't. So we're at Trumpstein War day 165. 165. Another couple weeks, we will be at 6 months, half a year. Half a year. And I'm leading to a broader examination and assessment / postulation. My assessment and what I believe it is to be, what it's going to mean for us. And I'm going to give you some, and for tonight's, lesson plan, I'm going to give you some things that you kind of already know, but I'm going to piece those things together for you. And I'm going to place them together so you can see a much, much bigger picture and have a much clearer view of the overall. And then so once you have that clearer, more understanding picture, and some of you already do, by the way, if you do, outstanding, then this is just reiteration and reinforcement for you to confirm what you know. And there's nothing wrong with confirming what you know. It keeps you strong and steady when you know you're right because it's reinforced and confirmed. That is what leads to good policy, good result, good issue. So, second portion to the statement, the Trumpstein War, day 165. In a couple of weeks, we'll be at 180 days, 6 months, half a year. And I will go out on a limb here, not very far. It's a very strong tree, not very far out on the limb. There's no way, in my assessment, then that Trump thought it would actually go 6 months and longer. There are many, including sources, read into that what you will, but sources from within the White House to news publications that have stipulated and said openly that he said out loud that, after Venezuela, that this wouldn't take very long either, that we'd kick their ass, not my words, theirs, his, We would kick their ass and it would be done real fast and be over. And we'd have a victory. We'd go in there, take control of their oil reserves, maybe eliminate their nuclear program. And then we'd win this war and it would look great. And he'd be a wartime president that kicked ass. And clearly that's not the case because we're not there. The second portion to the title tonight, and this is what I want you to focus on for this evening. And we're gonna even tighten up my timeline tonight. I'm gonna be done under 50, maybe 45 in that range. Can the stupidest war in U.S. history be won? Ask yourself the question. Can this war be won? The fact that it's the stupidest war in American history is not starting us off in a good way there. Because if something's stupid, there might be problems arising from it. A lot of those problems I've been articulating over the last number of weeks, if not last couple of months. And things become more problematic when there are stupidities involved and they're not going to be solved. And people aren't smart in addressing tough issues, tough topics, tough things like war. And they become more problematic and they grow or they get deeper and they don't go away. So can this war be won? And we're gonna play some fun here. We're gonna play a game here. On a simple X's and O's level. And again, because there's a lot more to this than just we bombed the hell out of women and children in Iran. We've hit their factories, their weapon systems. We've killed a lot of people. If you want to argue for the case that a war can be won simply by killing people, and for the record, that is a metric for winning wars. It has been a war, a war metric. You get into a battle, we have 20,000, they have 30,000. We lost 5,000, they lost 20. We won the war. We won that battle. That is a traditional norm that has happened in the past. You could have a Pyrrhic victory. I won't go into the history of that, but Pyrrhus, basically what it means, the Pyrrhic victory is like you're winning, but you're losing so many people that you're not actually winning. You're losing. You get it? You win the battle, but you lost so many people that you don't want to fight anymore. That's Pyrrhic. It's a win, but you don't want that kind of win because you're losing. You're losing people. I might go into more detail on that another time. Explain. That's actually from a leader in the ancient world fighting against Rome. And he was beating Rome, but he was losing because he was losing men, even though he was beating them in the battles. We could do that another time. Maybe I get into some history, my first love, and maybe I do some history lessons on our show. Anyway, I kind of do, but without getting too nerdy and too wonky about that, I won't do it tonight. Anyway, a Pyrrhic victory can be that. We could be winning, but we're also losing. In this case, it's not predicated it's not gauged on people so much for this particular war. Trump can run up to the mic, as he is often wont to do, and say that we won the war on the first night. And say we obliterated all of their Air Force and air capability. We eliminated their Navy. We eliminated their Army. We got rid of everything, but yet they're still fighting. You do the math on that one. It's not adding up. But you could say all of that, and as an American here, you can also say that I don't feel like we're winning this war because, one, the war's still going on. That's one. So clearly it's not done. And most people understand a win in war or battle as a defined ending, an ending point. We beat them up. We killed them. They can no longer fight. They signed a peace treaty and we're done. We're no longer fighting. We won. None of that's taking place. This war is not done. I.e., Americans don't think this war has been won. So Trump can say we won it already, but the overwhelming majority, and I love saying that term, the overwhelming majority, because it is, doesn't believe we've won this war. Most Americans do not believe that. So let me run a little bit further. One, they don't believe it because it's still going on. One. Two, we are feeling the negative effects of a war that was started for no reason other than Jeffrey Epstein's files are not fully released and Trump's in them 38,000 times. So the war is not done because it's still going on. And the war is not won, at least on the part of Americans, because we've lost 18 kids, young people. Gas prices fluctuate up and down because of volatility and instability in the world and the energy market. Oil, food, our economy as a whole, is at elevated costs and rising. Inflation never went down. He blamed Biden for everything, but he hasn't done a damn thing about it. A little world I'm familiar with, the housing market is not better. It's harder than ever, at least in this lifetime, mine and others, to go out and buy a home, especially for young people that have decent jobs, but their decent jobs don't have enough between the two of them. Heaven forbid the 50s where a parent can go work and it was enough to buy a home and live a decent life. Now it's two and they can't afford a home because interest rates are too high and the housing market is too high. And therefore, Americans don't believe this war has been won because that's what we're seeing. That's what we're dealing with. That is what we know. This isn't arbitrary. This isn't, I believe, you believe. No, this is simple. These are provable, objective facts. So no, this war is not won on those measures. So I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek here, but I said, can the stupidest war in U.S. history be won? Personally, and for the American people, for the American perception, for American credibility, for American strength perceived by the rest of the world in our military, in our capability, our resources, our munitions, our stockpiles, our ability to conduct and wage war like no other force that the world has ever seen. You take all of that, you put it all together, and you're like, well, we should be winning, but we're not because this is never ending. So again, personally, for the American people, for the American perception, for the American credibility, for the American century that we've just left a quarter century ago, that we started with as the American hegemony, meaning we are at the top, we're the greatest, we're the biggest, the superpower. And I don't think it's winnable now. And I've been kind of alluding to that, if not saying it directly. It's not, because we've got a stain on us. We didn't end it. We didn't end it fast. We've lost people when we shouldn't have. We've given ground to the enemy that they didn't have before, i.e. the Straits of Hormuz. They're actually making money off it now. Whereas before it was just an open strait. Donald Trump literally gave them the ability to make more money. That is definitely an art of a deal that I don't want to see. It's like you got a Picasso over here and a cat with paint on its paws hitting the canvas. Art of a deal. I don't think so. But being tongue-in-cheek and having some fun with this exercise, what we're talking about right now, you clearly know where I'm at. You understand where I'm at. Most of you that watch my show, you're there. You understand this. Many of you have seen more than a little. I don't have a bunch of 20-year-olds watching my show, by the way. It's usually older people. I don't mean ancient old, but everywhere in between 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, etc. I've got a cross-section. Some of my ex-students and wrestlers, people older than me, relatives, family, friends, etc. So I'm going to be a little cheeky here, a little tongue-in-cheek. I don't believe this war is winnable anymore. However, I'm going to answer My question in the title with the yes, it can be won. It can be won. Now, I'm going to play some fun here. If you're listening to me, if you know anything about me, or if you're just capable intellectually without ever having seen me, known me, etc., and I'm saying, yes, we can win this war. It isn't going to be because I'm overflowing and my pores are oozing optimism about the American capability, the American dream. Revisit that episode from a week or two ago about the American dream. It isn't pessimism. It's pessimism balanced by optimism, both. Not overly negative or positive one way or the other. I'm balanced in my approach based on evidence, based on facts, based on data, based on intelligence. And so here's where I'm going to have my fun tonight. I'm going to Wang Chung tonight. This war can be won, but only by a specific, very, very small, but specific group of people. The entire United States, the overwhelming majority of this country that is not for this war, that is against this war, in polling after data, etc., over and over again, it's not going to change. Did that show last week. The numbers are not going to improve. This war started at 41% approval. It has only gone down, and it is never going back up, definitely not going above 41 where it started at. I gave you data on prior wars, Afghanistan, Iraq, go back further. The days that those wars started, they were well in the majority of this country, where the overwhelming majority of them believed in it. And then the numbers would tick back down or tick down and shrink based on how long that war lasted, what happened in the meantime, et cetera, over time. And then maybe it would dip down and go lower. This war, uniquely, this Trumpstein war, Operation Epstein Fury, started in the toilet. Because when you're starting a war because of the toilet stuff that we're talking about, Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, then it's probably not going to be good to start, and it wasn't. All objective data, all measurable, all there for everybody to see. This war started in the toilet, and it never came out. So the overwhelming majority of America does not believe we're winning this war, and I'm going to hazard a guess and go forward now and say the overwhelming majority of America does not believe this war is going to be won, or is it winnable? So back to my original. Can this war be won? The answer is yes, but only for a very specific and small subgroup of this country. Now, you can make it easy and simple and say, oh, the MAGA cult. That's easy. The MAGA cult, I've said before, you could feed them a shit taco and they'll ask for salsa. Literally. They're almost a non-factor, a non sequitur. It does not follow. Their rationale, their logic does not follow because there is none. They literally do what their God fat orange emperor says. Okay? So put that to the side too. Put that to the side too. So what's left? What am I talking about? Who believes this war is winnable? Who thinks they're going to win this war? Go right to the top. It isn't the MAGA people. It's this leadership. It starts with Trump and all the sycophants and ass kissers around him, including some of the people that are intelligent and are smart and they know what they're doing. But they're going along with for the ride because they're getting something out of this or they're benefiting from it. And we can be really, really simple, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make this super mega simple. There are a lot of people around Trump, not a lot in the national sense, but a lot in government sense, that are making millions, billions of dollars right now during this administration, corruptly, literally making money off of this war. And I'm not talking about just trading stocks, but no bid contracts with specific defense industry people that are connected to so-and-so or his sons for that matter, making money off this war. Okay? So yeah, they think this war is winnable because they have to benefit from it. They're benefiting from it now. They're making money. They're gaining strength. They're gaining power. So, of course, they do believe it's winnable. Even though deep down inside, they know it's bad for the American people, they believe it's winnable for them. All right, now stay with me. And I know that's kind of ugly, right, to say that, well, it's only winnable for the people that are wealthy, rich, and corrupt. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to war. The difference here is this is really blatant and obvious and simple to see. There are wars in the past where people were making money off war and we didn't know about it, or it was hidden. We didn't find out about it till later. Yes, that has happened. That does happen. Quite a bit, actually, in terms of war. There's a reason there's such a thing as a term called war profiteering. It isn't a one-off. It isn't an isolated incident or case. It's a concept. It's a term. War profiteering. People making money off of starting and benefiting from war. Beyond just war industry and defense contractors and people making weapons or food for soldiers or clothes for soldiers, because war sells. War makes money. Okay? But let's do this. Let's go right to the top. Because I wrote this over the weekend. I was sitting down watching my Dodgers stink it up still. One of the worst road trips they've had all year, and one of the worst couple week windows of games they've had. Well, they've had all year. I think it is the worst. Anyway, watching the Dodgers commiserating, right? And, you know, it's like you're living in a penthouse, you're crying about the view. I get it. But still, I can still bitch and complain like any other fan. That's one thing that's fun about being a fan and entertaining yourself with sports or music, movies, etc. Right? You get to lose yourself in that way and not have to think about the politics. So I wrote this down after watching a couple shows. Donald Trump, the Fat Fuhrer, can leave this war open-ended. And in theory, leave it open as long as he is the president. Now, there was speculation and still speculation and belief that he doesn't want this war to go on. He's worried about the midterms. He doesn't want to lose in the House, and he doesn't want this to look bad for him. I say thee nay, ladies and gentlemen. I had a Shakespearean thought. I say thee nay. I don't think Donald Trump gives a shit about the midterms. I don't think he cares what this looks like. I don't think he gives a shit if the polls are bad. I don't think he cares about anything other than and only himself and what he gets and what he makes. And when you use that and shine that light on the situation, you got to actually wonder, you got to question yourself and say, does he give a shit that we're not winning this war? Does he give a shit that 18 uniformed men and women, young women and men have died? Does he give a shit that gas fluctuates and hurts us at the pump daily? Does he give a shit that he's used up munitions, stockpiles, and weaponry, missiles faster than in maybe any war we've had in a long, long time, and that someone's going to have to pay for it? Hell, does he give a shit, sidebar for a second, does he give a shit that there are more measles outbreaks in students and kids right now than at any time in recent history, maybe a decade plus? Measles. Measles, ladies and gentlemen. Because of his stance and position with Robert F. Kennedy on believing that all vaccines are garbage and stupid. Does he give a shit? The answer is undeniably, unapologetically, and a resounding no. So, can he leave this war open-ended because of the average American's tolerance, the average American's indifference, the average American's apathy, on the political end with regard to politics in America and this war? And I say yes, he can. He can leave this war endless. And all people will do will say, well, you said you didn't want any forever wars. You said you wanted to end wars. We've blown past that. If you don't understand that he lied to you, then you're an idiot. That's as harsh as I use. I don't like calling people stupid or idiot. I really don't. Rarely, if ever. Very few of my friends or family have ever even heard me use the terms regarding other people. I don't like doing that. I don't like saying that. But at some point, true is true. Fact is fact. If you believe that Donald Trump actually wanted no more wars, railed against forever wars, didn't want to start any new fights, and then he promptly proceeded to do so, and now we've been at war for nearly half a year, then you're an idiot. There's no debate. There's no argument here. I'm not pulling any punches. It's just a fact. You're an idiot. You're stupid. If you still believe him that way, believe him on something else. He can lie to you about something else. But and here's the kernel for you tonight. This is the lesson. This is what you need to take out of tonight's show. Trump can leave this war open-ended, meaning unresolved, and not fix it. Because if he fixes it tomorrow, we'll know about it, and he'll say he fixed it. Again, the arsonist who stops the fire that he started, and the stupidity attached to that. Okay? He started this war. The Iranians didn't attack us. We picked the damn fight. We did. We started this war. We started this fight. And if it ends, whether it's him or anybody, he'll claim victory and say he ended the war. You already know the playbook. It's not complicated. The difficulty is in you holding him to account by not allowing him to bullshit you anymore and lie to you and to play games with you and say things that you know to be factually incorrect or untrue. So he can stop the war tomorrow and he'll claim victory. And then it's up to us to make sure that it's understood that this is not a victory. See how that works? Let me go a step further. Again, pay close attention. Everything I've said tonight leads up to this point here, what we're talking about right now. Trump can leave this war open-ended because of American tolerance, American indifference, American apathy, and he leaves it open for 2 more years, moves on, and blames the next guy. Boom. And as I say that to you, listen, understand, and know. Not because I'm telling you to know, because you do know. In your mind, you do know he will do that. He can do that. He's already done that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for Supermax Nation, because we talk about this all the time. Know your history. Because if you know what has come before you, you know what is most likely to come next. He blames the next guy. He blames the guy before him. He blames everybody but himself. He's never at fault for anything, even the things that he breaks and even the things that he screws up. He is the worst president in United States history when it comes to loss of life that wasn't wartime. Hundreds of thousands of Americans died because of COVID. And I don't give a shit where it came from. He did nothing about it. He sat on his ass, told you to inject yourself with bleach up your ass, shine UV light into your mouth or anywhere else you can stick it. And he pretended that it did not exist. His exact words, it was a hoax created by the Democrats because those are his enemies. So he blames the enemy. That is the pattern. Past is predicate. See what he's done before, know what is coming next. So as I tell you and I postulate and I give you a theory on what he can do, Supermax Nation members, You thinking Mexicans, you thinking Americans out there, you understand that it is not only possible, it's plausible. Hell, it might be probable based on his conduct, his actions, and his methods. We could be stuck in this war for the remainder of his presidency, and I'm hoping not, by the way. I hope not, because if we're still at this mess for 2 more years, you know more Americans are going to die. So I'd prefer we not. However, for the sake of the argument, if we go 2 more years and he finishes his term and somebody replaces him, hopefully a Democrat, and I mean a Democrat with a spine, pray, not another sycophant Republican that'll just replace him and try to be Trump light. Trump light's probably around 280 pounds. He will just blame whoever comes after him. He talks great about what he does and blames everybody else and talks bad about anybody else. It is so Philistine simple. It is so Cro-Magnon, like in thought and in practice, that it's almost not even laughable. He will blame whoever's next for not solving the problems that this war created, even though he created it. He blamed Biden for the inflation that the COVID pandemic and the crash of all of our economies the world over created. Inflation grew because of that, because of COVID. It didn't just happen in a damn vacuum. Inflation in the markets hurt globally because of what COVID did to the world economy. Trump did nothing about that. But when he was out of office after Biden kicked his ass, all he did was complain about Biden and said that he caused the inflation. When the reality is, cold hard facts, Biden didn't create the damn inflation. The only argument you can make about Biden is he didn't do enough fast enough to stop or to hold the inflation down because he was handed that mess. And as Biden handed him again a recovering economy, Trump promptly proceeded to crash it again by installing tariffs, enacting tariffs that no one wants, that no one needed to see, and by starting a war. And our economy took another hit and another blow. Now encapsulate all of that and put it all together, and you got one hell of a shit show. But you absolutely do know, and I'm going to do this one more time, a reminder, to the main point of tonight's show is to illustrate for you that it is extremely likely, possible, probable, plausible, all the above, that we're going to be stuck in this war for a while. I don't know the exact date. He doesn't know the exact date, but it clearly isn't the first night, which he lied about. It's not the first night. Wasn't a few weeks. That was the next promise. Then a month or two. That was the next promise. And now we're going on 6 months, half a year. And I've already articulated the point. The Iranians are not stupid people, and they are tougher than hell. They can withstand a lot of punishment and damage and still continue. And it takes 2 to agree to end a fight. I don't see Iran agreeing to end a fight. A war ain't won if the enemy's still out there taking shots at you, fighting with you, trying to kill your people. So focus here. We're going to finish up in a second here, but focus here for a second. Wrestle with and ask yourself that question. I do like doing this with my show. I do like forcing you to ask yourself tough questions directly from where I'm sitting right now in front of you on a microphone looking into a camera. I like forcing you to ask the ugly questions of yourself. Not for the exercise of, oh, damn, I'm going to ask myself an ugly. No, but because asking yourselves and forcing yourselves to ask difficult, ugly questions is quite literally the primer and the powder keg to getting to good answers, to finding solutions, to finding a way out, to understanding what is doable, what is likely, what can be done to solve difficult problems. Problems don't solve themselves. You have to solve them. And you can't solve them by snapping your fingers and hoping something just pops in the mind. It takes rigor. It takes some discipline. It takes some intellectual work on your part. And that's why this is a show for the thinking Mexican, the thinking American. I'm asking you to ask yourself that hard question. Ask yourself this question as we finish up for the night. Can we win this war? For us, no. For Donald Trump, yes. We already know he's going to say he won the war whenever it ends. He already said he won it. So put that to the side. But now wrestle with, after addressing the topic for the night, the title for the night, the overwhelming majority of America doesn't believe this war is going to be won. But Donald Trump has already said it's won, and he's not going to budge on that. We know that. He's just going to keep saying he won because it's him. It's his. He'll keep saying he won, even if we're losing. So we know that. That's done. Put that to the side. Don't argue. Don't debate with a MAGA cult member. It's a waste of time, waste of energy. Don't even bother. Just know these things. 2 + 2 still equals 4. 1 + 1 still equals 2. And here, this war equals not good for the American people. Fact. Just like 1 + 1 equals 2. This war is not good for the American people. Fact. Put it to the side. Don't argue. Don't debate it. And then lastly, on that point with Trump, know that he's going to say he won it, that we've already won. We won the first night. We're winning right now. We're winning. We're doing all kinds. We're winning everything. No end to the winning in sight. Yeah. So leave yourself with that question, this question for you. Can he leave this war open-ended, finish it whenever he wants, and then just turn around and blame the next guy? The answer is somewhat rhetorical. You kind of already know the answer, but I want you to wrestle with that and know how he's going to do that. And here's the last point, final point. Because if you in your mind can know what he's going to do because he's already done it, you in your mind, if I walk out of here and die tonight, you'll know this. And you'll be able to do it for yourself. You'll know that he's going to do this, this, and this. He's going to lie. He's going to play games. He's going to blame the next guy. And now you caught him. Now you're prepared for the trap. You know of its existence. You know what he's going to do. And if you know what he's going to do, you don't have to believe it. And if you don't have to believe it, you could fight against it. You could say something. You could stop Trump nuts dead in their tracks before they start spitting their bullshit and tell them, no, I ain't got no time for that. I don't want to hear you. You can be my best friend, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my sister, my brother, my love. I don't give a shit. Trump-free dumb shit zone here. Trump dumb shit stuff, we're a free zone here. We don't do that. You just need to start doing that. Okay? That's my point for you tonight. Just ask yourself that question. Can he leave this war open-ended, even at cost? Cost being American young women and men that die? An economy that is not recovering, inflation that is not recovering. Prices are higher all the way across the board for a daily living for the average American. The perception of the United States exceptionalism is damaged, maybe beyond repair, with the rest of the world and their belief in us, their trust in us, their idolization of the American ideal, the American dream, i.e., I referred to you back a few nights or last week. That's a lot of bad. But yeah, you know the answer is somewhat rhetorical. Ask yourself that question as we deal with this Trump war. Can he just leave it open and come back to us in 2 weeks and say, oh, yeah, we're working on a deal? You see what I'm doing to you now? I'm reinforcing what you already know. And that's why I'm a good host, because it's what you already know. I give you something, but most of it's already there. I'm just asking you to piece it together and have the abstract ideal in your head to play with on your own. Oh, we're working on a deal. Oh, we're going to bomb the hell out of him. Oh, Oman's cutting a separate deal with Iran. Oh, that doesn't mean anything. We control the Straits of Hormuz. Oh, yeah. Just keep listening. You already know. It's already there. It's all there for you. It's just called history. even history that isn't that old, just the last 6 months, right? It's all there for you. That's my final for you tonight. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to shift a little bit from tonight on this particular topic because I want to kind of leave this with you on this vein with regard to the war. And I want you asking yourself those questions, and then I'll address some other topics or other things that don't interfere with that so you can keep that in your mind. I want that literally simmering there for a week. Wrestle with it. Argue with yourself on it. That's all good. It's all good intellectual exercise for your mind, for your brain. Can he leave this war open-ended? Because Allah, and here's my final point. I apologize here. He is making it like, you ready? For those of you that are old enough, the war on terror, the war on drugs. You get it? It is not defined. It is not objectively doable to win. The war on terror, the war on drugs. We're still fighting those wars, but they never end. And that's why they tell you that this is the war they're fighting, because they leave it open-ended so they can keep coming back. There's no defined finish. You can't say, well, you lied because, oh, no, we're still fighting it. It's an abstraction. We've been fighting technically as a species a war on drugs, whatever they're quantified as, literally since we came out of caves. War on terror, what is that? Caveman Joe walks out and go club some dude on the head. Oh, that was terrorism. We can be doing this forever. And therein lies the point. I think that's what he's doing. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it isn't the case. But he's leaving it open-ended. And he's leaving himself room to continue this war and use it as he sees fit. Use it to make money off the stock market. Use it to beat up on allies to get them to come on board. Uses it to get in bed deeper with the Saudis so that his daughter and son-in-law can make more money, billions. Yeah. I better stop. I'm going to stop there. Ask yourself the question. Leave it there. We'll be back tomorrow. A lot of heavy material here, but really, really serious concept to wrestle with. Really, really serious things to ask yourself. Show for the thinking Mexican, show for the thinking American. Okay, number love for you. We'll be back on Thursday, and you have a good Wednesday. We'll see you on the Thursday. Number love for you.